Day 22. We did it. We've made it 22 days of seeing this mug every day at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm Peter Dunn, Pete the Planner, CEO of Hey Money in Your Money Line.
Yeah, this is for the people living day to day, living check to check. Make a little
My man,
money,
Mr. Kinetic, always bringing the tunes. Go to mrkinetic.bandcamp.com. That's mrkinetic.bandcamp.com, and you get all his albums. Pay the man. All right, everybody. Lots going on this Monday. I'm wearing my Monday shirt. As you can see, this has become my Monday shirt. I'm not even wearing sweatpants. I'm actually wearing real pants. And things are progressing here. No one cares. All right, lots to go through before we even get started on today's topic. Number one, within 9 days or so, you should get a deposit into your checking account or savings account if you're eligible for the stimulus payment, if the IRS has your bank account on record. Those payments are supposed to be here by April 15th. If you've been holding on by the tip of your fingers for that stimulus payment to come in and rescue you, well, it's on the way, allegedly. If you're eligible for a stimulus payment and your bank account is not on file with the IRS, you're going to have to wait reportedly 20 weeks till July or August for those checks to hit your mailbox. I'm not kidding. I don't even know what sort of color commentary to give to that. That's so far. I do think, as I've been saying over the last couple days, there will likely be another stimulus in May or June as we're beginning to get our arms around and our heads around what this economic shutdown looks like. In the coming days, we will have some commentary on what specifically you should do with your stimulus check, given a few different circumstances. That's about it. Stock market is up today, I think in anticipation of who knows. This, as we've talked about on this show, the stock market is usually forward-looking. It can give you an idea of what the economy might have in store. There is thought recently, and I've read some analysis that suggests that, this is such an unusual situation that the market is sort of aimless right now, which means it's going to do this in the near future. So what I'd like to do here today is focus on what you can do as an investor to make sure that the ups and downs don't send you in the wrong direction. Here are our, you ever say that? I'm a writer, so when I write our, I don't know. Our goal here today is to cut $500 a month of spending. Most of that work is already done here in the 30-day challenge. If you have not cut $500 a month of spending, go back and watch one of the first 21 days of our program here, and you will get to it, because the next two items are really what we're focusing on in the remaining 8 days of the program. We're going to press reset on your finances, try to look at them a little differently, have a little better strategy. And one of those strategies includes stop guessing. By God, stop guessing. Please stop guessing. Today, we're going to learn how to stop guessing when it comes to investing. Okay? Next. If you want additional help, you can always get that additional help by going to callheymoney.com. That's callheymoney.com. If you've missed any of the back episodes of this show, you can go to the blog at heymoney.com and you can watch the videos. You can grab special materials from there, some downloads, and written summaries that my team have put together for you. And they're doing a great job. They're all working remotely all over the country. We hook up with each other via GoToMeeting every morning or so. So kudos to them. Thanks for their work, especially my right-hand lady, Jasmine, for all the work that she is putting in. You're going to get a special discount code CHEESE. If you type in the discount code CHEESE, you'll get 10% off your subscription to Call Hey Money at callheymoney.com. Here's what we're doing today. Going to be, I think, a pretty brief lesson here today, but it's going to be a very powerful lesson because you're going to learn a little something about how you react to investments. And if you haven't figured it out already, I went ahead and adjusted the graphics because Facebook shrunk the window of my graphics. And so I went ahead and took some time and fixed them so I don't look amateur from a graphics perspective. Okay. You will make mistakes with your long-term investing if you become too emotional. This entire week is investment week. We're going to teach you all sorts of things about short-term, mid-term, and long-term investing, but we have to begin with getting our emotions in check. Story time for you. when I was in college, I spent most of my days day trading at my computer in my fraternity house room. I was day trading. I wasn't going to class a whole lot. It's all right. Made it through. But I was an amateur investor. I started investing when I was in high school, started doing a lot of day trading in college. And what I learned very quickly was that I was way too immature to do it properly because I did not have a grip on my emotions. As I've aged, and boy, have I aged, that's something I've gotten control over. When all this chaos is going on over the last 3 or 4 weeks, there's a lot of things I'm personally worried about. I'm worried about the virus. I'm worried about the economy. I'm not worried about the stock market. I've been telling you that for 3 or 4 weeks. I'm not worried about the stock market. I'm not. Why? Because it will always rubber band back over time. I'm not retiring for like 20 some years. So what's it really matter? Right? And I'm going to prove that to you today. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what we like to call the roller coaster of emotions. I want to take you through the process that everyone goes through emotionally when you react to what is going on in the stock market. You ready? Here we go. Okay. Start at the far left side of the screen as you would when you consume any piece of information, because here in America, we read from left to right, from top to bottom. So start at optimism. It's the light blue circle on the far left. And the curve of this line, sort of the S on its side, if you will, that is the value of your investments over time. So let me show you like this. If it's going like this, that means your investments are going up. If it's going like this, it means your investments are going down. Back to the graphic. So generally speaking, when your investments are on an upswing, you have optimism. And as they continue to increase over time, you feel excitement over the idea that they are consistently still going up. So much so that over time, you are actually thrilled by what is happening. So far in a good market, you have optimism, excitement, and thrill. You with me? These are all very positive emotions. I love to feel excitement. I love to feel optimism, and I love to feel thrill in any aspect of my life, especially investing. Then at the very top, and we could argue this was February of this year, we felt euphoric. How do I know this? I know this because businesses all across this country, investors all across this country, we're making big plans to do big things. We're buying houses, buying cars, starting new businesses. We felt euphoric, like we're going to keep this thing going. Well, then something called COVID-19 entered our lives. And so we began, as the market started to say, wait a second, something's not right here. We had little disruptions late February. So much so that some of us were like, I'm a little anxious. I'm a little anxious right now. Got some anxiety about what's going on. But we persevered. We didn't freak out. Then got a little worse. And by the way, not only is this about your investing, but this is just about your general outlook on the economy in general at this point. But most frequently, as we look at this graph and we teach people about investing, it's more apropos to investing than it is the economy at large. It just so happens that they match up pretty well right now. Okay. So we had anxiety, and then it started to get a little worse. And I think some of us were still in denial that the market was going to fall on its head. I guess arguably some of us were in denial that this was a serious economic problem and a serious healthcare concern. But that's neither here nor there. We do not address that on this show. Denial turned to fear as it relates to your investments. It turned to fear. Then, and I don't, this is where you get to weigh in on how you're personally feeling. Because the next few, there's some pretty negative attitudes here, and you get to just decide where you're at mentally on this. I mean, the reality is no one is still at anxiety or denial. Maybe some are still at denial. But most people, I would say, are at desperation, maybe panic. Capitulation, that's a fancy word for just giving up, right? Capitulation means giving up. You're just like, I don't even care anymore. That's capitulation. If you've looked in the mirror, if you looked at your lovey-dovey and you said, I don't even care anymore about the market, that's capitulation. Welcome to capitulation. Beyond capitulation is something we call despondency. It's this. That's despondency. Then, and I don't really like the use of the word depression here because depression is a clinical diagnosis. To be fair, I really actually don't like the use of the word there, but it is descriptive and you know what it means. Next, here's what ends up happening. When the thing swings back in the other direction, by the other direction, I mean up, you're going to have hope. And the hope is not going to come the way you think it'll come. The hope could be on a day like today where the market, as of this show live, it's up like 1,200 points, 1,300 points on the Dow. That makes people feel, okay. Well, maybe there's hope. That's what they would say in that voice. Then hope, when it's sustained, turns into relief. And then back to optimism, which is where we started. Now, where we are on this chart, your guess is honestly as good as mine. But I can tell you, we are probably somewhere between fear and depression. We have not swung back to hope. We are probably somewhere between fear. For some people in denial, but I think most of those people have been proven to change their mind. Now, I think what the most interesting part about this graph here is what you need to understand is you need to look at where you have the biggest chance to make a mistake and the biggest chance to have a reward. The biggest chance to make a mistake is at the euphoria stage where maximum risk exists. So back in February, when all of us were high-fiving each other, going out buying cars and things like this, those decisions now prove to have been quite the risk. We didn't know it, but that's the whole point of euphoria. You almost get complacent with joy. Maximum opportunity. I would argue that is still ahead. Early on in this dip, and when all this was going on, people were like, well, now you need to buy into the market. There's a lot of sales. I don't know if we're through those other stages yet. I just know somewhere between a couple weeks ago and the next couple months, there is a chance, and maybe it's the entire period, where if you continue buying into the market appropriately to your risk tolerance, which we'll talk about in the coming days, that you have the opportunity to make all the bad stuff that's just happened from a stock market perspective, you make it irrelevant because you get maximum opportunity for growth. Okay, so in theory, this is how it works. And I say in theory for a very, very important reason. It's really hard to keep your head and not overreact when you're dealing with what I just showed you. How do I know this? Well, let me show you a graph that I snipped from another one of my presentations, and at the last second put it into this one. So graphically, aesthetically, it does not look very good. Oh my gosh, that looks terrible. There's different colors. There's, that pattern on there, everybody. See the paisley looking pattern? Can you see it? No, you really can't. No, you can't. You can't see it. I can see it on my TV. No one cares. Okay. What we're looking at here is 30 years of investment behavior, and the 30 years we're ending the end of 2015. And you're thinking to yourself, well, why isn't it updated? Well, who cares? It illustrates the same point. I just haven't updated it. I haven't done this part of my presentation or a presentation on this for a couple years now. So what it's telling us is over a 30-year period, the S&P 500, which is an index that measures, the market. It helps us understand, is the market doing well? Or is it doing poorly? Over a 30-year period that ended on December 31st of 2015, the S&P 500 index averaged 10.35% return per year. Okay? 10.35% return per year for a 30-year period ending at the end of 2015. Now, why this is interesting to me is because people who can't control this end up with 3.66% rate of return. The average equity fund investor, which is you and me. If you have money in a 401k or an IRA or the stock market, you are an equity fund investor. That is who you are. On average, during this exact same time frame, instead of getting 10.35% return, which is what you should have gotten if you just left your money alone and didn't overreact, you on average got 3.66%. That's terrible, y'all. Terrible. Look at that. So all the things we're feeling right now, all the moves we're trying to make to get over on it, it's hurting us. And here's the impact. If you invested $10,000 30 years ago, a period ending 12/31/15, and you received 3.66% return on average, at the end of that 30 years, that 10,000 would, turn into almost 30 grand. Wow. I mean, 30 years, 10 grand turns into 30 grand. Not too bad. Well, what happens if you actually got what the market got by not overreacting, by not paying too much in fees and other components to this? Well, your $10,000 would have turned into $220,141.58. Yo. So instead of $29,000 and change, it turns into $220,000 and change just because you got what the market got. Why am I telling you this? Because people overreact. I have a tremendous number of friends in the investment business still. I used to be in the investment business, but this is what I do for a living. I talk on Facebook to people. I have a lot of friends still in the biz, and we've been talking a lot over the last few weeks. I went to lunch with a good friend of mine, manages a lot of money for people, and I don't remember the day. I could probably look it up for you. And he's like, yeah, had a few people go to cash today. And what that means is what people did, they began to feel, they began to feel anxiety. And so what they did was they bailed out. They're like, done. We're shortcutting this process. Guess where anxiety is when it comes to risk? Right near the maximum risk. So by selling, and then of course the market is dipped, they just don't know when to get back in. And when you don't know when to get back in is when you get in trouble. I'll find the numbers for you in this week sometime. But if you miss like the 10 best days, then you miss everything. And what happens is when a market goes down and then it comes back on, its way back up, you don't know when it's reached its bottom. So if you're trying to time it and say, well, I'm going to buy in when it's on its way back up, it's too late. No, this is the way it works every single time. Everyone always likes to act like it's not the way it works, but that's the way it works, and all the statistics support it. So here's what I recommend. Buckle up tight, because this week we are going to teach you what you need to know about investing. And for a lot of people who aren't currently suffering income instability and employment instability, we're going to encourage you to keep on a reasonable investment strategy. But we're going to teach you some things. In the coming few days, we're going to talk about risk tolerance, asset allocation, time horizon. I might even doing something on target date funds. We're also going to hit what do you do if you're 50 and broke? How can you still retire when most of your career is gone and you have fewer years ahead of you to put a retirement plan in place? That's what we're doing this week. Look, I don't want to go to it. Here, I'm going to pop back to a screen. Everyone, don't get sick. That's what I wanted. Callheymoney.com. That's where I want you to go. If you want help, we'll help you through this. In fact, as I'm sitting right here, someone signed up when we're doing this. I get little pops. My watch goes. I'm serious. It buzzes every time. So I'm glad we're helping someone there. We talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in the last 30 days, and we want to talk to you too. Put a plan in place. Use offer code CHEESE. It's $17.99. You guys, we're going to get through this together. It's going to be really hard. I have some comments tomorrow we're going to start the program with to start around this concept. We've accepted that things are going to be bad, but you still need to be prepared for what it really feels like when those bad things we thought were coming, when they arrive. Because there's still the chance to slide back the wrong direction, make the bad decisions that come with shock. We have to be prepared for that. All right, I'm done for today. Actually, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, go to the CW. I think CW33 is the station there. I'm going to be on with my friend Ginny Anchondo. She's doing a live newscast there at 2 Central. So if you're in Dallas-Fort Worth and you're watching right now, switch on over to CW33, I believe is the channel. If it's not, I'm embarrassed now. And I will see you there. I'm wearing the same shirt, same studio, different station. All right, y'all. See ya.